Okay, we are live, everybody. Now, unlike last time, I am just double checking if my good mic is working because for some reason there was an audio glitch last time. Okay, I just heard it on my end. The mic sounds good. For some reason, last time I went live, I connected my webcam mic and not this mic that you are hearing right now. So, as we do every show, let me know if we're looking and sounding good. Let's make sure this mic is working. Thank you, Logan, for letting me know. I appreciate it. That bugged me last time because like I really do work hard for you guys and I want to bring you guys like the best that I can, the best quality and everything that I can. And listening to that webcam mic was annoying. But anyways, we have so much Phoenix Suns news to talk about, you guys. And it all kind of started just a few hours ago. Um, so what we're gonna do first is, you guys know me. I got to crack open an energy drink. I got my G Fuel Mega Man Blue Bomber squishy energy drink. We're gonna take a big sip of this, and then we're gonna talk all things Phoenix Suns. So do me a favor, you guys, crush the like button, share the show, and as I get this open, we will get started. I don't know why, but I'm sort of like in a sky blue, light blue mood today. So with that being said, cheers. Ah, delicious, unhealthy and delicious. All right. um, let's see. Sawbuck says we call your mic DA since it doesn't work all the time. It doesn't work hard all the time for real. All right, you guys. Obviously, the main course, the main thing of this show is going to be Deandre Ayton. But before we get started, shout out to my guy Philly Take with RB. He says, stopping by to drop a like, keep grinding. Appreciate that, man. You guys, if you want the best Philadelphia 76ers news and even a little bit of Philadelphia Eagle news, check out Philly Take with RB. He's been on this channel before. I've been on his channel before. He's a great guy. Shout out to Philly Take with RB. Even if you're not a Sixers fan, just go subscribe anyways. All right, guys. We got some things we're going to react to, some things we're going to talk about. And it all is surrounded by Deandre Ayton. So let me kind of start with the timeline of events. You guys know I like to do that. So we're going to talk, we're going to just share a couple tweets. I have like multiple Twitters pulled up here. And I want to start with a tweet that was put out on June 23rd by Arizona Sports' John Gambo. So we're going to share this real quick. Let me just make sure everything looks good on my end. Okay, let me just share this. Boom. Oop, that's not it. Add to stream. There we go. Okay. So you guys can see on the screen here. He tweeted this out June 23rd at 4:18 p.m. Keep in mind, John Gambo's been doing this for decades, you know, is very plugged in and, you know, all that good stuff. So he tweeted this out. I am sticking with what I have been saying these last few days. It is very unlikely the Suns will trade Deandre Ayton. So then yesterday, like last night, we kind of got a strange report that the Suns were going to trade, or there was like a rumor that the Suns were going to trade for Tobias Harris. Now that came from Keith Pompey, who's the Sixers beat writer. And you know, he's plugged in as well. And I don't know how plugged in he is, but he's plugged in a little bit. And I wasn't really necessarily buying that because one, I was like, I don't know how it's going to work financially and all that and all that stuff. And I was like, do the Suns even have assets to trade? Yada, yada, yada. I didn't go crazy over that, right? So that was sort of the next, you know, event in the timeline. And then just this morning or this afternoon, I'm going to share this tab instead. Chris Haynes of Bleacher Report tweets out, and this was just this morning, this afternoon, he said, Phoenix Suns are moving forward with the plan of keeping Deandre Ayton to play alongside Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal. League sources tell NBA and TNT and Bleacher Report. Then he followed that up, if you can see on the bottom there, saying Suns believe Ayton's value to the franchise is at an all-time high with the additions of Beal and Durant. Phoenix wants to see them play together. Now, that last tweet's interesting. And I kind of want to highlight that real quick. So let me just go here. Keep in mind, you guys, one-man show here. So do me a favor, you guys, crush that like button, all that good stuff. Let me take a sip of my energy drink, and then I'll give you guys my thoughts on this tweet right here. Delicious. So here's why I think this part of the tweet is interesting. Because remember what Frank Vogel said in this press conference. Now, I'm paraphrasing what he said, but he pretty much said that, and I don't know if it was the word was restore. I think the word might have been restore. Frank Vogel was talking very highly of Deandre Ayton. I believe he called him like a top 10 center in this league. And he was just saying all these great things about Ayton. He pretty much said, we can restore Deandre Ayton. And I think he, again, I'm paraphrasing, but I think he said we can make him like an all-star center one day. So that's got to be taken into consideration with this Deandre Ayton stuff. That your new head coach, who you signed to help lead us to a championship, is saying great things about your franchise center who is locked up in a contract. That has to be taken into consideration. Now, I said this around the time Bradley Beal, I think it was when Bradley Beal got traded. I said, I think James Jones is going to be stubborn and keep Deandre Ayton. But I also said there's a big part of me that kind of wants to see what Deandre Ayton can do with a full season of Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, a full season of, Frank Vogel, his coaching staff, the new system, et cetera, et cetera. That's sort of the optimism around this. I know there's a lot of Suns fans that hate Ayton and they want him traded and yada, 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 yada. I get it. But think about that potential. I'm going to full screen myself for a minute. Think about that opportunity. Think about that. Just think about it. A full season, or heck, even we'll give it half a season. Let's say we give Deandre Ayton's Suns, run goes all the way up until February, whenever the trade deadline is. So we'll say we give Deandre Ayton a few months under Frank Vogel and his staff, the new system, with KD, with Beal, and not only that, with a full training camp with all these guys and the new system and everything, and a full preseason. So let's say we give Deandre Ayton till February. If all of that does not unlock Deandre Ayton, if he is still mentally struggling, if he is still, lackadaisical on the court and not putting in 100% hustle and effort and defense and all that stuff, if that can't unlock Deandre Ayton, I'm going to go out on a limb and say not even Greg Popovich, one of the greatest coaches of all time, couldn't even unlock Ayton. If by February, if he is still the same Deandre Ayton, let's say Kevin Durant's healthy and Beal's healthy and we're winning games and the vibes are good, but Deandre Ayton is still struggling on and off the court, nobody can help Deandre Ayton. And he will just unfortunately be what he is. You know what I mean? He will just be a double-double, sometimes shows flashes of potential center. And let's be real. There are some teams out there who are in their own situations financially with their roster that might be interested in that. Forget the contract and everything. There might be some teams out there that are going to say, you know what? We like what Deandre Ayton's doing. We know it's not really working out in Phoenix. We'll take a chance on him. So I guess my point being is that I feel like James Jones doesn't want to let go of Ayton. Frank Vogel said great things about him in his press conference. And if this Chris Haynes Gambo report is all true, that the Suns are not trading Deandre Ayton and they are moving forward with him. And again, if Frank Vogel, the coaching staff, a full season of Book, KD, Beal cannot unlock Deandre Ayton, then nobody can, in my personal opinion. So I'm trying to stay optimistic about that. I really am. And Suns are better on Twitter. Suns are better. That's like his Twitter handle. I like the way he tweeted this. And we're going to react to some tweets from some people who I follow and I trust. But Suns on Twitter pretty much said, I believe that Ayton can be the fourth piece on this team and help deliver this franchise their first ever championship. Now, I like how he words it right here. It's just a matter of whether or not he, Deandre Ayton, believes that too. You know, Deandre Ayton posted that random photo of him like wearing some whatever workout gear. I think it was like a promotional story page. He posted that picture of him working out on draft day, just randomly. Like the timing of that was random. Excuse me. We reacted to it on draft day. But he posted that. And also another thing that I think helps, and I guess where I was going with that was sort of weird timing, but I hope Deandre Ayton has been working on his game. But I guess what I was going to say is that I truly believe if the Suns were going to trade Ayton, it probably would have been on draft day. And again, we're recording this on June 25th. Anything can happen on free agency. That's sort of my next point later, but he still could potentially get traded. But I think if they were going to trade him, it would have happened by now. Does that make sense? And that's why I think that picture on draft day was a little weird, kind of weird timing. Shout out to my guy, Logan. He says, you hit it right on the head, Geek. We have to give Vogel a chance to unlock him a few months at least. We don't get better trading Ayton at his lowest value. Exactly. Now, remember when I said that there are some teams out there who are in their own situations with their own salary and, you know, whatever the case may be. I'm absolutely positive, and I have no inside information. I have no connections. I have no sources, but I am positive in saying I guarantee it that there definitely were discussions over the phone. I guarantee that. There's probably been conversations about Deandre Ayton getting traded for months. But that doesn't necessarily mean that James Jones, Matt Ishbia, and all them need to say, yeah, let's get a deal done right now. And yes, Ayton is super frustrating at times. Yes, at times he shows flashes and potential, and we all love Ayton when he does that. But I think the timing of the trade is what really matters. And there is a way, you know, especially with this Bradley Beal thing, you might want to trade him in the offseason because of what I've mentioned before. You know, a full training camp, a full preseason, yada, 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 with this new roster. But maybe the Suns are looking at it kind of like how Logan said, we have to give Frank Vogel and this new Suns team a chance to see what we can do with Ayton. If we were having this conversation right now and these reports, you know, the Gambo report, the Chris Haynes report in like January or even like December, then I think all of us would say, yeah, Ayton's got to go. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. I don't even know if that makes sense, but I don't know. So I want to kind of react to some tweets here that kind of, I feel like sum up all of this Ayton talk. And then we're going to talk about Bradley Beal, who is in the Valley. We're going to react to some things. I want to talk about the newest Phoenix Sun, Tamari Kamara. And I do want to apologize to Tamari Kamara because I absolutely butchered his name. Tumani Kamara, just like I did now. I butchered his name again. Kamara, I want to react to some stuff about him. Chris Paul, some new Phoenix Suns jerseys, maybe. We're gonna dive all into it. Once again, Tumani Kamara. I'm sorry I butchered your name for like the 80th time. But anyways, lots to talk about here. So we're gonna react to some more tweets here. Let's keep going with what John Gambadoro of Arizona Sports, John Gambo, has been saying. Oops, I hit my mic. My bad. By the way, are we still sounding good and everything? Are we good, everybody? Because last time I connected the wrong mic. That was on my fault, and it just, I don't know. So let me know if we're still sounding good. Let me take a sip of my energy drink, and we'll continue on. We got 120 people in here. Crush that like button, everybody. Share the show. As I always say, you guys, the best way to support the show is just to keep watching. Tell people about Sons Geek. And yeah. Yes, there is some rumors, if you will, about a new jerseys coming. But we'll talk about that later, I promise. Anyways. All right, so let's go back to John Gambo's Twitter. So Bleacher Report, oops, that's not it. Here we go. Share tab instead. The Bleacher Report put out, because again, this all came from Keith Pompey, Sixers beat writer, saying, the Suns want to facilitate a 3-team trade. Tobias Harris, Phoenix, DeAndre Ayton to the third team, yada, yada, yada. And then John Gambo, followed that tweet up saying, this is incredible. Sorry. This is incredible. Just total BS. Suns have no interest. Once again, I do not expect them to trade Ayton. So that was what John Gambo said. And then he was pretty much just following up some of his tweets there saying, like, where you been, Chris Haynes, Kurt Hyland. I hope I said that right. He wrote an article talking about it. So that was what John Gambo said. So I want to react to some tweets from some people who I trust and follow. Let's start with Mike Vigil from the Timeline podcast. Shout out to him and Sam. They both do great work. I kind of like this tweet right here. And I know this is kind of negative here, but it's kind of true. He said, they tried to trade Ayton for Sabonis before his free agency. They tried to trade him when he was a free agent during his first max year for Durant. They tried to trade him this offseason. And then he followed that up saying, I can't believe some people thought the third pick was on the table. I know that tweet sounds a little negative, but I kind of like it because it's true. Guys, how many live shows, how many videos have I done on DeAndre Ayton trade rumor? DeAndre Ayton is linked to this team, and this insider is saying this about Ayton. So I like what Mike tweeted out here. And I don't mean to sound like I'm giving DeAndre Ayton unrealistic expectations. I'm not trying to sit here and say, DeAndre Ayton, you need to become the next Wilt Chamberlain. You need to become the next Shaq. You need to become the next Hakeem Olajuwon. I'm not really trying to say that. But I like Mike's tweets here because what Mike is pretty much saying, at least how I'm taking it, is DeAndre Ayton, you have been in so many trade rumors and you have failed to live up to your potential so far. So again, if Frank Vogel, KD, Book, Beal, Suns coaching staff, if they cannot unlock DeAndre Ayton, nobody can. And I hope, now look, DeAndre Ayton doesn't give a crap what I say. He doesn't give a crap what all these Suns podcasters say and all that stuff, and the media and the fans and Twitter. That's why he's like barely on social media. Honestly, I don't blame him. Props to you, DeAndre Ayton. But if all of this doesn't make you come out of your shell and have a dominant season, I don't know what will. I'm not saying DeAndre Ayton has to be an all-star center this year. But should DeAndre Ayton be up there in all-star votes? Hell yeah. Should DeAndre Ayton be doing better than a double-double, averaging less than one block a game? Absolutely. And again, sometimes it's just all about the eye test. Sometimes, just the body language of Ayton, hustling on defense, blocking shots, all that good stuff. Getting the rebounds up, all that stuff. I hope DeAndre Ayton is using all of this as motivation. I also hope Now I tweeted this out and some people didn't like it. I said something like, when the Suns got embarrassed by the Nuggets, I said, I hope Devin Booker and Kevin Durant are using this as motivation. They come back next year even better. You know what I mean? So I hope that Deandre Ayton is using all of these trade talks, all this stuff as motivation to come back next year as one of the best centers in the NBA. So a few more tweets I want to react to here. Again, shout out to Mike V. Hill, Timeline Podcast. Also, shout out to Gerald Bourguet. You guys all know him. Does great Suns coverage. Been with the Suns for many, many years. He says, if the Suns explored Deandre Ayton and didn't like what they are being offered, I get it. And he is right about that. Let's be real. You know, maybe there were some offers on there and Phoenix was like, hell no, we just keep him and be better, or we can get better offers. So he's right about that. Excuse me. He said, but a lot is now riding on a coaching change, magically fixing everything with a lesser offensive role and more defensive buy-in. Can't underrate the human element, but that's a big risk. So, you know, he says that a lot is riding on a coaching change, magically fixing everything, less offense, more defensive buy-in. Now he says, can't underrate the human element, saying like, you know, humans can change, players can change, situations can change, but that's a big risk. So I like that tweet from Gerald. And he's absolutely right. Just because there's a new coach, new team, you know, new superstar and Bradley Beal and all that, KD and Book, doesn't mean that Deandre Ayton can change. We all hope that he can change, but again, it's like Suns are better on Twitter said. It's just a matter of whether or not Deandre Ayton believes that he can be the fourth biggest piece and all that. So again, shout out to Gerald and Mike. Also, another tweet I want to react to. Now, I'm not trying to sit here and pretend I'm like, sorry, let me rephrase this. Let me get my words right here. I don't want to sit here and sound like the Phoenix Suns gatekeeper. I'm just telling you guys how it is, because this is true. Let me just share this tab. So this comes from Lando. I don't even want to try to butcher this man's name, but he's I'm sorry, guys. I have to read this tweet. You guys know how it is. I got to tell you guys how it is. So there's the famous Bradley Beal meme, which is pretty well photoshopped in the new Suns jersey. But he says, Suns Twitter is in shambles over the news that we're not trading a good player on a bad contract for a worse player on a worse contract. It's over. And then I followed that tweet up. I followed that tweet up by saying, at least I think it was that tweet. I don't know where it is, but I swear I responded to it. Twitter's been acting up today, by the way, you guys. I tried to send out 2 tweets. They haven't tweeted, but I might have quote tweeted it, but I said, most Suns fans are never happy no matter what we do. That was my response. I don't know if it was that tweet or another tweet, but I said, most Suns fans are never happy no matter what we do. And it's true, you guys. In fact, I'll actually find that tweet right now so you guys can see it. And look, I'm not trying to sound like the Suns gatekeeper. And I know there's a lot of younger fans who were born, you know, at a later date. So they're all new to this. And I understand that Twitter can be a very toxic place, especially Suns Twitter. And here's the tweet, by the way, that I followed up. Yeah, I quote tweeted it right here. You guys can see it on my screen. You know, I understand there's a lot of younger fans and everybody reacts to things differently. I get it. I'm not trying to sound like the Suns gatekeeper here, but it's true. Most Suns fans are never happy no matter what we do. You know, there's like the fan base that wanted to keep Mikal and Cam. There's the fan base that is super happy about KD and Beal. Then there's the fan base that's like the OGs, like, oh man, I remember the Barkley days, and I remember the 7 seconds or less Suns. You know, there's all these different fans, and then there's the younger generation. You know, so it's not trying to sound like the Suns gatekeeper, but this is just a fact. Most Suns fans are never happy no matter what. Just saying. So I don't know, you guys. I just think this at the end of the day, with all this Deandre Ayton stuff, because we've almost gone 30 minutes talking just pretty much strictly Ayton, which again, that's kind of the big highlight of the show here. My final thoughts on this Deandre Ayton thing are this, and I pretty much already said it. I think that Deandre Ayton sort of has a time limit here, and I'm not just talking about his contract. I truly believe if Deandre Ayton is the same player by the NBA trade deadline 2024, so, in February of 2024, if Deandre Ayton is the same player, and I hate to say this because I don't know him personally, but the same person, then he will be traded. Even if it is at the lowest value and the Suns get a terrible deal. If he is the same player, same person, we're seeing that body language, and he's arguing with Frank Vogel and all that stuff, and he's arguing with Book, and I can see him gone. But if we start to see real improvement, not just statistically, but him being a better leader, him playing better on the defensive end, et cetera, then Deandre Ayton will not be traded. But I want to share one more tweet with you guys. And you guys know me. Flex from Jersey is my guy. And by the way, nothing's official, but he might be on the channel soon. Him and I have been talking. Just saying. So I'm going to share one more tweet with you guys. After the Chris Haynes and the John Gambo stuff, Flex tweeted this out. Long summer, nothing else to say, laughing, crying emoji, peace sign. Here's why I wanted to talk about this tweet. And I said this slightly, but I also said it. No, I guess I did talk about it. Well, no, I don't know what I'm talking about. I did mention this. This is something that might be getting overlooked with all this Deandre Ayton stuff. Yes, Chris Haynes, Shams, Woj, whoever you want to follow, they all have their connections. They're all plugged in. Gambo, Flex, whoever you trust as your main source. They all have their connections. But let's be real. They are not the Suns front office. They are not James Jones. They are not Matt Ishbia. I truly believe that anything could happen this offseason. Do you guys remember when, this might be a bad example, but do you guys remember when the Rudy Gobert trade kind of snuck up on us? Now, I think some of us did kind of know that Donovan Mitchell was eventually going to get traded and Gobert and all that, but that trade I feel like kind of snuck up on us. Let's be real. That could happen this offseason. The free agency waves are going to go, like the first 48, 72 hours are going to be chaos. Then we'll get a few big signings here and there. And then it could be a random Wednesday in July. And then all of a sudden our phones are going to blow up. And we could potentially hear a report that Deandre Ayton's getting traded. So just think about that. That's something that might be getting overlooked here. Anything could happen this offseason, you guys. It could be in August, and Deandre Ayton could get traded. So don't overlook that. Keep that in the back of your head. As Flex says, it's a long summer, nothing else to say. So we've gone over 30 minutes with just me ranting about Deandre Ayton, and we got a lot more to talk about. That's my final thoughts on the Ayton thing. I'm sure that this won't be the last Ayton talk. Who knows? Tomorrow or next week or, a little bit post free agency, we could be having more Deandre Ayton, news and all that. Let me take a big sip of my drink and a little bit of water, and then we'll move on to our next topics here. Cheers. Gotta get a sip of water too. Hold on. All right, you guys. So let me just do some couple quick things on my end here because I got a lot of tabs pulled up. All right. The next thing we're going to talk about is Bradley Beal, who is in the Valley as we speak. We're going to go to the Suns Twitter. Let me just refresh this to make sure I didn't miss anything. We're going to go to the Suns Twitter and react to some stuff. Yesterday, I believe it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. They made the Bradley Beal, Jordan Goodwin, Isaiah Todd trade 110% official. Bradley Beal is officially a Phoenix Sun. Let me just share my screen real quick, and we actually can watch and react to some stuff here. Oops, that's not it. Sorry, guys. One man show here. My apologies. Ooh, my bad, guys. I need to get like a producer or somebody to help me with these shows. Anyways, all right, here we go. On the Suns Twitter page, you guys have all seen this. Bradley Beal is in the Valley. Oops, that's not it. What is going on with my life? Anyways. All right, so yeah, Bradley Beal, trade is official. Here's some highlights of Bradley Beal right here that you guys are watching real quick. And you guys know how I was talking about the potential of Deandre Ayton being with Beal, KD, Booker, and all them. Everybody wants to look at like the negative side of Bradley Beal being a Phoenix Sun, and I get it. I really do. But like, can we just stop for a minute and realize that like the Phoenix Suns have 3 of the best scorers in the NBA? I mean, as this tweet says, 3-time All-Star, 2-time 30-plus points per game scoring seasons, and was an All-NBA team, I believe, in 2021. Can we just like appreciate that for a minute? And by the way, speaking of Bradley Beal, before we get to Jordan Goodwin and Isaiah Todd, here is what Phoenix Suns owner Matt Ishbia said about Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal is one of the best players in the NBA and brings so much to our team, including incredible work ethic, great character, and a mindset of a champion. And Suns owner Matt Ishbia also said, Brad possesses the ability to score on all 3 levels and impact the game on both ends of the court. His professionalism and desire to win is infectious and something that will elevate our program. That was actually Suns GM James Jones on that second quote about Bradley Beal. Also, here's this beautiful little introduction of Bradley Beal, kind of like when Kevin Durant was here. That beautiful little hallway, giant sign of the Suns right there. Look at that, man. Let me lower this little Phoenix Suns news thing right here so you guys can see this in full detail, man. I would love to see that like big sun sign in the background in person one day. That'd be amazing. Phoenix Suns, if you're watching, can I like come to the arena and stand right in front of that sign right there, please? Anyways, yeah, so Bradley Beal's in the Valley, everybody. Speaking of Bradley Beal being in the Valley, I hope we get a press conference. I really do. I haven't heard anything yet about the Bradley Beal press conference because, yeah, I don't know if it's, I mean, and I assume Jordan Goodwin and Isaiah Todd would be there, but like also our new rookie, Tamani Kamara, who we're going to talk about in a little bit. They would probably have to introduce him as well. So it'd be like a 4-player press conference. Hopefully that's soon. You guys know me. I would love to cover that live on the channel. We will see. But some more Bradley Beal stuff, and then we'll move on to our next topics and everything. We'll react to some more stuff. So don't go anywhere, you guys. Oh, I hit my mic again. I'm sorry. Here's a nice little picture of Bradley Beal standing in front of that great sun sign right there. That looks pretty cool. Nice shot of Bradley Beal there. But also, what am I doing? What's going on in my life right here? Hold on, guys. Here's Bradley Beal and his new threads, and the jersey color is important here. Or the jersey, I guess you could say, not really the color. The jersey is important here. He is wearing, I believe that's our statement uniform or whatever, the black ones right there with like the shades of the Valley jerseys. But yeah, Bradley Beal, officially a Phoenix Sun, 110% real that Bradley Beal is in the Valley. You guys are seeing the clips right here of Bradley Beal. Here's the actual video of him looking at his new threads. He looks very happy. And real quick, something I was thinking about. Obviously, injuries are unpredictable, and I pray that we stay healthy all year, but think about it. The playoffs started, like mid-April, April 15th, I believe. The Wizards got eliminated, obviously, before that. I think Bradley Beal might have been shut down before that. So Bradley Beal's had a lot of time to rest his body, practice, all that stuff. So I hope Bradley Beal is like 110% healthy when training camp and preseason rolls around. And maybe we see like a rejuvenated, refreshed Bradley Beal. You know what I mean? And again, he looks happy looking at the new threads and all that. So I'm excited for Bradley Beal, man. And again, everybody wants to sit and talk about the negatives about the Bradley Beal trade. And I get it. I do. But it's like, man, we have three of the best scorers in the league on one team. Just saying. By the way, follow me on Twitter, you guys, at Suns Geek, or just search Suns Geek on Twitter and you'll find me. Also, shout out to Phoenix Suns broadcaster Kevin Ray. First off, before we actually look at Kevin Ray's tweet, this comes from the Winning Difference on Twitter. And in this clip, Bradley Beal's talking to, I believe that's Denny Advia, or if I probably just butchered his name. Let me just share the screen real quick. So the tweet says, you're going to have good days. You're going to have horrible days, days in between. Embrace them all because you need all of them. Success isn't measured by avoiding bad days, but embracing them alongside the good and the average. Every step counts on the journey towards greatness. So this tweet comes from the Winning Difference, but you're probably wondering why I'm saying that to you. So this is a clip from practice of them talking. Let me just make sure the volume sounds good. So listen to what Bradley Beal said to Denny.
You're always going to feel like you didn't do good because you have higher expectations for yourself, and you should. You feel me? But
you guys hear that okay?
I would say just embrace every single moment of the year. You're going to have good days, horrible days, and in-between days. Embrace all of them because you need all of them. Take care of that. Get your. You're always going to feel like you didn't.
Let that play again
because you have higher expectations for yourself, and you should. You feel me? But I would say just embrace every single moment of the year. You're going to have good days, horrible days, and in-between days. Embrace all of them because you need all of them. Take care of that. Get your. You're always going to feel like you didn't do good.
Let me just pause this clip real quick.
And you should. You feel me?
So first off, motivational words from a guy who's been, in the league for years and all that good stuff. Shout out to Bradley Beal. So Kevin Ray, Suns broadcaster, been with the Suns for a very long time. He quote tweeted this, and I like how he worded it. He said, for any Suns fans wondering what kind of person, he used person first. For any Suns fans wondering what kind of person / player Bradley Beal is, just listen to this, the clip that we just listened to. When you play on bad teams, people make assumptions and want to marginalize you. I think I read that right. I can't read. You guys know that. Remember all those critics of Devin Booker back in the day? Yeah, you guys remember when people said that Devin Booker was a stat patter and all that stuff? He said, he's a worker and a winner. # let's go. That's Phoenix Suns broadcaster Kevin Ray quote tweeting this great video, inspirational video. If you guys ever need a little motivation in your life, go listen to that video that I just shared with you guys. So shout out to Bradley Beal. Shout out to Kevin Ray. Some inspirational stuff right there. Again, you guys, I'm excited for Bradley Beal. I really am. I understand the how do I word this? I understand the critics out there. Oops, I just did something wrong on my end. My bad. I understand, I get it. Financially, we are paying like crazy for these guys, and we have no draft picks pretty much. And I get it, and I understand the injury thing and all that stuff. I get it. But what is going on with my life right now? Sorry, you guys, one-man show here. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm just trying to stay positive about it, y'all. That's pretty much what I'm saying. So before we move on, just real quick, let's talk about the other guys that were a part of this trade. And I sort of talked about them in a live show recently. But this is Jordan Goodwin and Isaiah Todd. Now, real quick, it was reported that Bradley Beal mentored Jordan Goodwin. So don't overlook that. Just saying. Let me just lower this so you guys can see the full graphic here. By the way, let me know if we're still sounding and looking good. So just put a thumbs up in the chat or something. I'd appreciate that. Anyways, Matt Ishbia, Suns owner, on the new edition says, we are committed to bringing and let me just try that again. We are committed to bringing an NBA championship to Phoenix, and I could not be more excited about how this organization is coming together heading into the offseason. Also, that was also followed up by this picture. Brad, Jordan, and Isaiah will all help us in our quest for a championship, says Suns GM James Jones. I think there's also a short little highlight reel of Jordan Goodwin, I believe. Yeah, it's like 26 seconds. We'll react to it real quick, and then we'll move on to our next topic here. So here's the Jordan Goodwin highlights. Also, if you missed the last live show or one of my last live shows, I read an article on The Athletic, and it was like a story about how Jordan Goodwin pretty much gave sort of new, like a fresh breath of air to the Wizards locker room not too long ago. It might have actually been their G League team. Thank you, Kingston, for letting me know. I think it was their G League team. Pretty much the story, and I'm paraphrasing the story here, was the team took the players out to like this bowling event, and Jordan Goodwin was like so competitive that it sort of like brought a breath of fresh air to the Wizards. And I think it might have been their G League team. And also just the way that he went about things on defense and like trying to lock up guys and everything. So Jordan Goodwin really seems like he's going to be a dog, especially in practices and everything. And again, Bradley Beal mentored him. You know, maybe Bradley Beal also, you know, I have no sources on this. I have no clues if this is even true, but maybe Bradley Beal said, yeah, go get Jordan Goodwin as well. Just saying. Maybe he vouched for him. Now, Isaiah Todd, you know, I haven't done too much homework on him. I know that he really struggled in the G League, but the guy's still super young. He's like 21 years old, you guys. You know, maybe there's room for growth and potential there. Just saying. You know, he's got good size as well. Isaiah Todd does. So I'm excited for the new guys. You know what I mean? We will have to see. Let's move on to the fourth newest Suns player here. And again, I do apologize for not only butchering his name on draft day, but butchering his name earlier in the show. Toumani Camara is the newest Phoenix Sun, everybody. Let me just go find that picture. My apologies, you guys. Once again, one-man show here. How's everybody doing? Let me know how everybody's day's going, by the way. Let me scroll down a little bit. I don't want any dead air on this show, so I'm just going to keep talking. We're also going to react to some Suns Summer League stuff and Chris Paul and Landry Shamet later. All right, so here's what I was looking for. Okay. Here it is. All right. All smiles for the camera. Toumani Camara is one of the newest Phoenix Suns here. Now, look, I'm not a draft expert. I am far from it. But I did read some things, and I watched a little highlights. I don't want to sit here and sound like I'm an expert on Toumani Camara because I'm very far from it. But here's what I'm kind of gathering from Toumani Camara. He is a solid switchable defender. He's 6'8". I think he's like 240 pounds or something like that. 7-foot wingspan. I think Isaiah Todd also has a long wingspan as well. Has room to grow in the offense, but can sort of be a spot up shooter. He's good young prospect, has 3-and-D potential. He's strong. He can pass, but really defense is his main thing. So this comes from The Athletic, and I believe John Hollinger wrote this. Let me just, okay, there we go. So yeah, I believe this comes from The Athletic. 6'7", excuse me. That's what The Athletic has him as. He's probably 6'8", but 6'7", 6'8", whatever. Only 23 years old. Played a couple of years at Georgia. Finished his college career at Dayton. And they're pretty much just giving a ranking and their opinion on the pick, with the Suns and Tamani Kamara and everything. But John Hollinger says, I really like this pick for Phoenix. Kamara has stretch 4 potential with plus switch ability and is still evolving into the player he can be long-term after coming over from Belgium as an undersized 5 4 years ago. He can help the Suns' tax situation if he stays in their 14th roster spot on a minimum deal. So he might be one of the few guys in the final 15 picks. Let me just lower this so he doesn't end up on a two-way. So, he's going to bring whatever he's going to bring to the team on and off the court, but also might help with the Suns' tax situation because obviously we are a very expensive team. So just wanted to go over that with Tamani Kamara real quick because, again, I don't want to sit here and pretend like I'm a draft expert. I don't want to sit here and pretend I know everything about Tamani Kamara, but that's sort of what I've gathered. And again, everyone has their own opinion. Just go and look up some highlights and you be the judge. I will say this, though. I kind of wonder if he's going to play Summer League. I kind of hope he does. If he does, I will be all over that, you guys. Like, we will probably just do live shows strictly about his performance and his game if he plays in Summer League. Speaking of Summer League, just real quick, they did announce the schedule. I think it's a little bit down below here. They did announce, let me just find it real quick. Summer League. It's somewhere here. I might have skipped it, but yeah, the Suns did announce their Summer League schedule. Their first game is July 8th versus the Bucks. Yeah, it's right here. Here we go. Sorry, guys. That's the Suns Summer League schedule right there. July 8th versus the Bucks, 6 p.m. Now that's Las Vegas time. Then versus the Heat on July 10th. Then July 11th versus the Pelicans. And then July 14th versus the Jazz. And I assume if they win all those games, they will move on. So we will see what happens with Summer League. And there has been some Summer League signings because normally after the draft, you get a whole bunch of like 10-day contracts signed or 2-way contracts signed. And I think after the draft, we had like 3 or 4 players sign on to be on the Suns Summer League team. So we'll see what happens with Summer League. I'm excited. I wish I was going, but unfortunately, I will not be there in person. We will see. So we're going to move on to just 2 more things, and then we'll call it a day. We'll wrap everything up. I want to just talk about Chris Paul, not really necessarily for the last time, because I just want to just again say thank you to Chris Paul. Sorry guys, one-man show here. All right, here we go. The Suns posted this video of Chris Paul. I'm sure you guys saw it. Where was it? Thank you to Chris Paul for all you did for the Valley. 2-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, 2021-22 assists per game champion, and the 2021 Western Conference champion, Chris Paul. Oops. You guys are watching it on the screen right now. Just some cool highlights of Chris Paul and the Phoenix Suns. I'm going to miss Chris Paul, man. I even followed this tweet up by saying Chris Paul is one of the greatest Phoenix Suns ever. I don't care what anybody says. I truly believe that Chris Paul is one of the greatest Phoenix Suns ever. Now, I saw some debate going around on Twitter saying, does Chris Paul deserve to be in the Ring of Honor? I'll just say this. There's obviously guys that deserve it more, like, Amari Stoudemire, Sean Marion, et cetera, et cetera. But Does Chris Paul have the resume in a short amount of time to be in the Suns' Ring of Honor? Absolutely. Because it wasn't just all the on the court stuff, it was all the off the court stuff. And just the fact that Chris Paul's presence and him being on the Phoenix Suns made us a contender. And I think people forget Chris Paul forced his way to the Phoenix Suns because he saw the vision. He saw what Devin Booker was doing. He saw what the 8-0 bubble Suns did. He communicated with James Jones and everything and said, yeah, I want to be a part of that. You know, he could have stayed with the Oklahoma City Thunder, which, by the way, he led them to the playoffs. He could have said, you know what, you guys have all these draft picks. You got SGA and all these young guys. I want to stay on the Sun or on the Thunder, but he chose to come to Phoenix. And what was it? The first year, we went to the finals. The next year, won 64 games. And then this year, you know, obviously the playoffs were pretty much a disaster, but still had a pretty good season. We had a roller coaster season. So shout out to Chris Paul, man. I did a random thread video thing on my own Twitter. Pretty much just showing my love and appreciation to Chris Paul. So I just wanted to, again, give him his flowers. I'm sure it's not the last time we will ever be talking about Chris Paul on this channel. And again, I'm one of those few optimists that, in terms of Chris Paul and Stephen Curry and the Warriors, because if you guys didn't hear for some reason, Chris Paul is being traded to the Warriors. I'm one of those optimists that's kind of excited to see what Chris Paul and Steph Curry can do together. Now, obviously, 10 years ago, heck, even like 5-6 years ago, that would have been a lot better. But if Chris Paul can stay healthy, and if that Warriors team can stay healthy, and again, Chris Paul, one of the greatest point guards of all time, setting up the greatest shooter of all time, and another fantastic shooter in Klay Thompson, that's scary, man. Like, think about that. Now, again, the Warriors have a lot of other questions and things they need to address, but just saying, a healthy Chris Paul, a healthy Steph Curry, that's at least an 8 seed, right? Just saying. Anyways, I don't mean to pick on Landry Shamet here. Oh boy, I don't mean to pick on Landry Shamet here, but I'm gonna kind of do it. So Matt Peterson, who's a great follow on Twitter, used to work for the Suns, by the way. He had an interesting tweet last night. Kind of surprised me, to be honest. Well, I guess it didn't really surprise me necessarily, but it did catch my attention. And again, Landry Shamet, I'm sorry to pick on you here, but Matt Peterson did the research and tweeted out some players who scored more points than Landry Shamet in a Suns uniform. And again, if you don't believe Matt, you can go look it up yourself. These are the players from Suns history that scored more points than Landry Shamet. How long was Landry Shamet with us? Since like 2021 or something? Tyler Ulis, who played like a couple seasons, then fell off the face of the earth, he scored more points. Archie Goodwin, my boy Troy Daniels, who I fucking love, Casey Jacobson, who I believe was a Suns like sideline reporter or broadcaster for a decent amount of time, Shannon Brown, who was an incredible dunker, Marquise Chris, Josh Jackson, Dick Snyder, who I believe might have played in the 70s for the Suns, Luis Scola, who I met in person, by the way. He was a very nice guy. Jake Voskuhl, Corky Calhoun, who I don't even know who that is, Stan McKenzie, I believe that's Phoenix Suns GM James Jones, who we mentioned, and Oliver Miller. By the way, I'm friends with Oliver Miller's son, Xavier. Shout out to Xavier if you're watching. A very nice guy, one of my childhood friends. Yeah, apparently, these are all the players who scored more points than Landry Shamet. He also follows up his tweet saying he edged Jake Takalidis by 11 points and my boy Dragan Bender by 12. And he says Shamet played 376 total playoff minutes, not games, minutes. The only player to clear 300 low bar and score fewer points than him was Dennis Autry, Kurt Rambis, and Andrew Lang. That's it. Now, look, in all fairness to Landry Shamet, because you guys know me, I like to kind of see things from both sides of the coin, right? I guess it was reported, and I sort of did a poor job of reporting this on the channel, but I think Landry Shamet talked to the media and said that a lot of his struggles were because I think he like recently reconnected with his dad, and he was like having some family issues, and I get that. Let's be real, you guys. At the end of the day, these guys are human beings. You know, whether people want to believe that or not, these guys are human beings. They have lives. Heck, even LeBron James deals with things. You know what I mean? Chris Paul's been public about it. He's dealt with things in the past and all that stuff. And Monty Williams, you know, for example. And so I guess my point being is Landry Shamet was dealing with some stuff during his time for the Suns. And then I saw one tweet that said like Landry Shamet was always his own biggest critic, and he would even tell the media that. And as somebody, you know, including myself, I am my own biggest critic. You know, especially when it comes to the Suns content stuff and in these live shows and the videos, I'm my own biggest critic. I can respect that from Landry Shamet. I really can. And I wish him well. I really do. Now, look, I've spent so much time talking about the Wizards. I'm not going to sit here and bore you because I've already given all my thoughts on the Wizards rebuild. But as of right now, he is currently a Wizard, probably just for one season. And maybe he has a breakout year in a Wizards uniform. Maybe, you know, Tyus Jones, Jordan Poole, and him light it up. They low-key might be a really good offensive team, by the way, just thinking about it. And whoever they drafted and all that stuff, maybe he has a great year and he's mentally himself again. But I don't mean to salt the wound with Landry Shamet, but talk about a disaster of tenure with the Suns, you know what I mean? Because, again, these are all the players who scored more points than Landry Shamet. And what's Landry Shamet's thing? Scoring. And, yeah, he won us, what was it, Game 4? He was incredible in Game 4. And he had a few moments here and there. Remember on Christmas Day when, like, almost everybody wasn't playing well against the Nuggets, and he was the one that played very well, and then he got dunked on by Aaron Gordon? He had moments. He had flashes where he would play very well and, you know, gave us good minutes and sort of was underrated on defense at times. But talk about a disaster when it comes to Landry Shamet's time with the Phoenix Suns. And then John makes a good point too. The foot injury messed him up. Yeah, it was injuries too. That was another thing I kind of overlooked, was he did have injuries. So again, Landry, I wish you the best. I hope that you have a much better career in Washington than you did with the Phoenix Suns. Also, real quick side note, if you guys are wondering why I'm like looking to the, I guess it'd be left or your right or whatever, it's because I have this screen, this computer right here, and I have this computer. That's, I don't know, for anybody who cares about that stuff. Anyways, the final thing we will talk about on today's show, and then maybe we will get into some questions, topics. If you guys have questions or comments, concerns, whatever it may be, we're going to talk about new jerseys. Now, again, you guys know me. I want to go through the timeline here. This was tweeted out by Suns Uni Tracker, who is plugged in and knows the stuff about the Suns jerseys. This tweet was tweeted February 9th. He said, breaking, the Suns have new uniforms next season, thread below. Now, shout out to my guy Casey, who also is pretty plugged in when it comes to jerseys. Him and I kind of reacted to some like rumors and some concept jerseys. We've done that on previous shows. I don't think I clipped it and uploaded it, but we've talked about it is what I'm pretty much trying to say. So this was on February 9th. You know, we have the white association editions. We don't know what they were going to look like. then the purple ones, the orange ones, which I've heard rumors and whispers that those are going to be how do you pronounce it? Like El Valle or something? But it could be the Los Suns. And then it's looking like the Suns are apparently going to bring back their statement editions returning. That's what Suns Unitracker is saying. He says the white association, purple icon being replaced. Now, again, this is on February 9th. This is Suns Unitracker. White association, purple icon being replaced. Not the same design we saw leaked last season. Designs are final, can't say more. City edition, Los Suns will return, but that's all we know at this point. Totally guessing it might be orange. Then he goes on to say some other things. So go follow Suns Unitracker for all the latest on the Suns jerseys. But the reason I bring this up is because he quote tweeted this tweet, and he put that meme where the guy's like pointing to his brain and all that. He said, and then this tweet was just tweeted today. He said, there's a real reason the Suns are only using the black statement edition on social now. Also, pretty sure it's going to be the El Valle, or however you want to pronounce it, not Los Suns, for the city edition. So I remember before the playoffs started, somebody on Twitter was like, how come we only use the black statement edition uniforms for like pictures, promos? You know that giant sign they put out in the arena during the playoffs where it had all the players? And even the KD stuff. All the KD stuff was him in the black jerseys. Now, there was a couple of pictures of him in those turquoise city edition uniforms. But that tweet was right, like saying, like, how come we only see the Suns in their black statement edition uniforms? So I guess what I'm trying to say is, according to Suns Unitracker, we're getting new jerseys. And someone asked him on Twitter saying, when are we going to get the jersey? He said probably August. That is about accurate, because I remember making videos in the past and live shows, and I believe a lot of that is done in August, maybe September. But it's true, you guys. A lot of the Suns promos and pictures are all done in the city, or not city, in the statement editions. Because look at Bradley Beal. We showed it on the show earlier. It was the statement edition uniform, So the Phoenix Suns are going to be getting some new jerseys. And I've made plenty of videos and live shows about jerseys, and I've reacted to them with my guy Casey and all that stuff. So I want to hear from you guys. Suns new jerseys potentially coming in August. Let me know your thoughts on that. So this will be the part of the show where you guys can get your questions, comments in. Maybe we'll go like 10 more minutes. How about 10 more minutes, you guys? Because I want to go. I got to go run to the grocery store later and enjoy the rest of my day. So get your comments, your questions. Let me know. Somebody says, will you take troll comments? If so, I'm in. I don't know, man. Just ask a question and we'll try to get to it. Okay. So I'm just double checking the chat to make sure I didn't miss anything. Get your comments, questions in now, and we'll move in. Michael says they should bring back another throwback. Absolutely, man. A jersey that I've always been a fan of is sort of their desert-inspired ones. Kind of like, I'll have to step back real quick. Kind of like, Alvin Adams right here, Connie Hawkins, Dick Van Arsdale. Like those jerseys right there. I would love those. And even though, I don't know, maybe I'm nostalgic, maybe I'm old school. I feel like I didn't appreciate the Los Suns jerseys that we had when we had them. Because low key, some of those jerseys were actually pretty cool, man. I get it. People didn't like the Los Suns, and I don't know, but some of those were pretty cool, man. Just saying, like if somebody gave me a free Los Suns jersey right now, like I would take it in a heartbeat. Who do you think the Suns' fifth starter will be? Good question, John. there's lots of talk, and nothing's really reported or official, especially since free agency hasn't started. But Campaign's still under contract. I kind of wonder what our lineup's going to look like. So let's pretend right now that free agency's done and over with, and the Suns have at least 7 guys. So let's start. Let's just pretend Booker's going to play point guard. So Booker, Bradley Beal at the 2, KD at the 3. I don't know who's going to be at the 4, and then Deandre Ayton at the 5, right? Maybe you bring back a Torrey Craig and you have Campaign off of your bench. And then, you got the rookie Tamani Kamari, you got Jordan Goodwin, et cetera, et cetera. I feel like it all depends on what they do in free agency. And really, it's not even that. It's who do they bring back? Do you bring back a Josh Okogie? Even though he deserves a payday, maybe he's like, yeah, I like what we did here. I want to stay with the Suns. But maybe Torrey Craig comes back, Jock Lindell, Bismack Biyombo. I don't know. We'll see. I know that doesn't really answer your question, but we will see, I guess is what I'm trying to say. 93 for the win. Yeah, I really hope they bring back those jerseys. If anybody from the Phoenix Suns is watching, why can't those just be like our standard uniforms, at least for like a couple of years, and then start bringing these new jerseys in? Like, you guys get what I'm saying? Everyone loves those jerseys, man. Just bring them back. Let them be full time, man. Okay. 93 Barkley. It's what made me support the Suns in England. Stunning jerseys, and to this day, exactly. I want to see those black Suns, 93 jerseys, the Sunburst ones. I want to see those. I believe we haven't seen those since like the 2012 season, because I think they wore them. It was either in 2011 or in 2012. That was when Jared Dudley was with us. I wouldn't mind starting the rookie. He has all the tools we're looking for, says Sawbucks. I understand what you're saying, but that's extremely unlikely. Just because, first off, we're a contender. I see the vision, but like, let's say we bring back Jock. Let's say we bring back Bismack. Like, he's not going to start over them. He's not going to get really minutes over them. That's, again, why I'm like, oh, crap. Like, I want to see this kid in Summer League. I want to see what this kid can do. Cody Kidd says, bring back Ross. I'd be down for that. I'd be open for it. Feel like he didn't really get enough run and time. And, he's a great shooter. Still has a little bit of athleticism left and all that. Shout out to the Gold Eagle. Sorry, guys. I can hear my dogs like freaking out downstairs. I don't know what's going on, but shout out to the Gold Eagle for the generous $10 super chat. Says, y'all should consider going after Reggie Jackson, Patrick Beverly, Blake Griffin, and Markieff Morris during free agency. What do you think? First off, shout out to the generous $10 super chat. Okay, let me just start with this. Markieff Morris. I give Markieff Morris a 5% chance or lower to ever play for the Phoenix Suns ever again. Now, look. He was on the team when we were obviously rebuilding, and those were the dark, toxic years. Robert Sarver was owner, and Jeff Hornacek was the coach back then. I get it. Now we got new ownership, new coaching, new team, and all that. But I highly, highly doubt it. I highly doubt that Markieff Morris will ever put on another Phoenix Suns jersey again. Now, I'm not saying he can't bring whatever he brings to the team, but he didn't really have a great time with the Clippers. He really didn't. But these other guys you mentioned, Reggie Jackson, I believe, just won a championship with the Nuggets. I've always liked Reggie Jackson. The guy can score. Pat Bev, now that Chris Paul's off the team, maybe Sam, what's his name? Sam Cooper from the Timeline Podcast had a hilarious tweet after we got Bradley Beal. He said, we should sign Patrick Beverly and Draymond Green and Dylan Brooks and be the most hated team in the league. But let's be real. As much as everybody hates Pat Bev, he is a dog. He defends. He'll talk some crap, But I just don't know on that. Blake Griffin, way past his prime, dealing with injuries. I love Blake Griffin. He's one of my favorite dunkers and players of all time. Don't know if he would really bring much to the team. So I don't really know if that answers your question. I know that that wasn't really like great analysis. That's just my personal opinion. I feel like the only one on there that might be realistic is Reggie Jackson. But again, the biggest problem the Suns are facing is the contracts and the money and the salary. And will these guys want to consider, joining the team on a cheap contract? So I don't know. King Can says, I saw your Tamani video. I was also confused. So is Tamani with the Suns or not? It's a good question, actually. As of right now, he is with the Phoenix Suns, to my knowledge. But I do kind of see a scenario where he might sign a two-way deal. Because, again, it's not like this guy was a lottery pick. Those guys get signed like instantly. And they're with the team for at least 4 years unless they get traded or released. But I feel like he's going to have to get signed to a small deal, play summer league, and then the Suns will go from there. Technically, don't overlook this, you guys. Technically, the Suns could trade him. The example to that, this is sort of a recent example. And again, I go back to the Rudy Gobert trade. Remember that trade? Walker Kessler was drafted by the Utah Jazz. What's his name? I think it was Ochai Agbaji was drafted by the Cavaliers or something. And I believe, at least I think that's how it worked. Or the Jazz might have drafted Ochai Agbaji or whatever the case may be. Either way, the Jazz drafted Walker Kessler. And then all of a sudden, he was traded for Rudy Gobert. So he never played a single second for the Jazz. So technically, he is with the Phoenix Suns right now. The contracts, the salary, all that has not been released. The details of that have not been released, but he's with the Phoenix Suns for now. Could still get traded. Just saying. I don't want to butcher this guy's name, but he's our Tayshaun Prince. Start the rookie. Tayshaun Prince was a really good player, by the way. I believe he was like a 2-time All-Star, might have been a 1-time All-Star. Had one of the greatest blocks in NBA history. You guys remember when he literally chased down Reggie Miller and swatted him from behind? Excuse me. We will see, though, on Tamani Kamari. The Book of John says, what if we made the Beal deal? Sorry. Let me try that again. What if we made the Beal trade last year with Cam Johnson and McHale still here? Will we have won the title? I don't know, man. That's a huge what if. Maybe I'll dive into that in a future show. Obviously, we will never know. It's all speculation and opinion, but maybe. You have Chris Paul, Booker, Cam J, McHale, Beal, maybe Ayton. It would have depended on who we would have traded, Like, is Ayton in that trade? I don't know. Michael says, Suns Geek, good job. How do we solve our depth issue by keeping Ayton? That's kind of what we've sort of been talking about a little bit. It's how do I say this? It all really just depends on first off, who we bring back and what we do in free agency. That's the short answer. That's like my short analysis, if you will. It all depends on who we bring back and what we do in free agency. The Suns clearly don't have the money to go out and get all these big name free agents. That's why, by the way, you guys, speaking of that, I don't anticipate anything crazy happening the first 48 hours of free agency. But that being said, still have your phone and notifications turned on. Anything could happen. But I don't anticipate anything huge going down because we can't sign anybody. We have like no money. But we can still get guys to hop on for cheap and bring guys back and all that. So we'll see. y'all should make a play for Reggie Jackson. I wouldn't mind that. The guy can score, man. And again, he just won a championship. So we'll see. All right, you guys. I think that's it for today. One more thing here. Can they not trade campaign for someone like Otto Porter or Thad Young or a second rounder? Be their fifth starter. They can have a ring chasing vet bench. Ross Craig, Utah, who I made a whole video about on Utah Watanabe. TJ Warren, Dwight Landale. First off, Dwight Howard, last time I checked, is playing overseas, and I don't know if he'll ever play a minute again in the NBA. I guess what I'm kind of getting from your comment here is, can they trade campaign? They absolutely can trade campaign, but the way I look at it is you might want a backup point guard just in case something happens with the big three or even Ayton, just saying. So I don't know. I get what you're saying by the players you mentioned, but is it possible and is it financially possible? I don't know. We should re-sign Baisley with the bird rule. I believe the Suns do have the bird rights on Baisley, but last time I checked, I thought he still was under contract. I could be wrong, though. The Book of John has a very nice comment here. Suns Geek, how does it feel to be the GOAT of Suns podcasters? First off, I want to jump off my high horse here. I don't want to call myself the GOAT of Suns podcasting because I truly believe there's a lot of other great podcasters out there. I don't even consider myself a podcaster, first off. I'm just a guy that talks about the Suns on YouTube. Like my guy, John, over the Suns Jam Session podcast. I believe he's a much better podcaster than I ever will be. Shout out to Matt as well. Shout out to Sam and Mike over at the Timeline Podcast. They're great too. And all these other great content creators. But I'm just a guy that talks about the Suns. I love the Suns. And you guys know me. I tell it how it is. I just play messenger, if you will. Like, I'm going to tell you guys what's being reported, what the rumors are, give my honest thoughts about it, and here I am. And speaking of that, with that being said, again, the best way to support me, everybody, whether you're watching for the first time or for the 500th time, the best way to keep supporting me, you guys, is just to keep watching. There's obviously great content out there. So many Suns channels and podcasts. But you guys continue to watch me, and that means the world to me. You guys allow me to take time off from my other job just to do this, and I truly appreciate it. So even if you're not subscribed, just crush the like button, share the show, tell people about Suns Geek. That's honestly the best way to support me. Also, shameless plug, we are 30 subscribers. No, not 30, 60 subscribers away from 8,000, just so you guys know. So we're almost at 8,000, and I truly appreciate it. Somewhere along like 60 subscribers away. Let me see here. Backcourt Highlight says, honestly, Geek, the Nuggets won the championship with 7 to 8 players. All Suns have to do is get 3-4 solid guys on the vet min. We'll be fine. Keep Craig, Utah Watanabe, etc. First off, we have to sign Utah Watanabe, but I do get what you're saying. Let me just repeat this and then we'll get out of here. Keep in mind, you guys, and I said this last time, the Suns did not trade for Bradley Beal to beat the Nuggets. And I'm not saying that's what Backcourt Highlights is saying. I get it. The Nuggets should be an example of how to win a championship. You got your 2 stars and Jokic and Murray. You get solid, great players like Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., etc. You get a couple of young guys like a Christian Braun. You get role players like Contavious Caldwell-Pope, Bruce Brown, and you win a championship. But the Suns did not trade for Bradley Beal to beat the Nuggets. Or heck, even the Warriors of last year or the Lakers of 2020. You guys get what I mean? They didn't make these moves for that. They just did it to win a championship. And also, for the people out there that are like super critical of, let's say, the Nuggets championship run or the Lakers bubble team or Heck, the Raptors of 2019 or the Warriors when they had KD. For the people that are like, oh, this team only won the championship because of X, Y, and Z. I get it. Your opinion is your opinion. But at the end of the day, those teams won titles, and you have to play who's in front of you. Because let's be real, the Suns did that in 2020 or 2021. Yeah, there was injuries to the Clippers and all that stuff with the Lakers. And, even when we swept the Nuggets, Jamal Murray was injured. You play who's in front of you, man. That's my opinion on the whole championship talk and the Nuggets, all that stuff. But I will say, there's great reporting on how the Nuggets won the title and how they built their team. The Nuggets, as of right now, should be sort of the blueprint on how to win a championship, at least to assemble your roster in order to win a chip. I'm not saying every team, because the Suns clearly aren't doing that. I'm not saying every team needs to do what the Nuggets did, but I don't know. King Can says subscribed with the thumbs up emoji button. Appreciate that, man. All right, you guys. I can hear my dogs freaking out, and I'm kind of getting concerned. I don't know what's going on outside. Plus, we've gone like 23 minutes longer than anticipated. So I'm going to get out of here. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for all the incredible support. Follow me on all social media links. It's all down below in the description. And make sure to share the show. Smash that like button. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Brandon. If it has to deal with the Phoenix Suns, I'm going to make a video about it. Thank you, Mike B, for the nice comment. It says, Geek, what's good, bro? I've been away for a while. Love your content, man. Nice work. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. All right, you guys. So I'm out of here. Love you guys. Thank you so much. God bless you guys. And as always, go Suns. Peace.